You're broke, lost, and weak. And deep down, you know it. You hate the man in the mirror because he sold out his own potential. You've been lied to, told life was fair, that someone was coming to save you. No one is. You were born with a crown and you threw it away for comfort. Now listen carefully, because if you don't wake up in the next 15 seconds, you'll live the rest of your life a peasant in a world you were meant to rule. The world doesn't owe you anything. That's the first truth you need to tattoo on your soul. You weren't born with a crown. Nobody is going to hand you the throne. Success is not a gift. It's a bloody conquest. This isn't a movie. There's no magical coach, no last-minute miracle, no script where you conveniently win. Real life, it's brutal. It's raw. It will kick you in the teeth, spit in your face, and move on without flinching. And if you're not ready to bite down on your own pain and use it as fuel, you're done before you even begin. You want to build something real? Then get real about what this world actually is. You either rise or you're stepped on. You build or you're owned. You either build your empire or spend your life serving someone else's. And I know deep down you felt it. That burning, unspoken urge to do something massive with your life. That quiet frustration when you look around and see average people smiling like they've won when they've settled for crumbs. That voice that whispers there's more when you're alone at 2 a.m. scrolling through lives you should be living. But let me tell you this. That feeling is your potential screaming at you. That pain, that's your purpose trying to wake you the hell up. Most ignore it, most numb it, most silence it with distractions, dopamine, and dead-end habits. But the few, the chosen few, they listen, they act, they build. You weren't born to just survive. You weren't meant to rot in mediocrity, obeying orders from weak men in cubicles, trading your time for pennies. You're a builder, a warrior, a conqueror. And if you don't feel like one right now, it's because life has beaten you down. They broke your rhythm. They convinced you that comfort is happiness, that safety is peace, that average is enough. But let me tell you something that might just save your life. The empire you want exists. It's real. It's waiting, but you must become the man capable of building it. No one is coming to rescue you. I don't care how sad your story is. I don't care if you had a rough childhood, if you were betrayed, abandoned, broke, misunderstood. Welcome to the damn club. You think you're the only one? Life doesn't hand out sympathy trophies. The world pays attention to power. And power is earned through struggle, sacrifice, and relentless movement. You can cry, you can complain, or you can build. That's it. Those are the options. And no, it won't be easy. It's supposed to be hard. It's meant to break the weak. You're not meant to feel good all the time. You're meant to win, and winning hurts. You will lose friends. You will outgrow people. You will wake up alone sometimes, wondering if it's all worth it. That's the price. That's the toll at the gates of greatness. But on the other side, glory, power, respect, freedom. You'll be unshakable, not because someone made you that way, but because you carved it out of your own suffering with blood on your hands and fire in your heart. You will look back and thank the pain. You'll thank every sleepless night, every insult, every failure, because without it, you wouldn't be the man you're becoming. You wouldn't be the builder of your empire. You see, the enemy isn't out there. It's not your parents. It's not society. It's not the government. It's the weak voice inside your head telling you to stay in bed. It's the comfort that strangles ambition. It's the fake friends who celebrate your stagnation so they don't feel inferior. You have to kill that part of yourself. Kill it every day. Replace it with discipline, with obsession, with vision. And once that happens, once the noise dies and the mission becomes clear, you'll be unstoppable. Not because life got easier, but because you got harder. And here's the beauty in all this pain. The most powerful thing I'll ever tell you. You don't need permission. You don't need luck. You don't need anyone to believe in you. You don't need a fancy degree, a rich family, or a golden opportunity. You just need to start. You just need to decide. You just need to wake up and declare, I'm building my empire. I don't care how long it takes. I don't care how hard it gets. I'm not quitting. I'm not waiting. I'm not hoping. I'm building. This life can be anything you want it to be, but not by accident, only by design. And design requires work. Relentless, unsexy, unforgiving work. While others party, you plan. While they sleep, you strategize. While they mock, you multiply. That's how empires rise. In silence, in darkness, in discipline. So if you're tired of waiting, tired of wasting, tired of wondering if you'll ever get your shot, here it is. This is the sign. This is the moment. This is your green light. Burn the bridges, crush the excuses, and start laying bricks. Brick by brick, day by day. Blow You were born to be more than a follower. You were born to dominate, to rule, to leave a legacy. That throne you dream about, it's not a fantasy, it's a blueprint. And you've got the tools. You've got the fire. All that's left is to build your empire. Let me tell you a story, not one of comfort, but of chaos. Not the kind you watch on a screen with popcorn in your hand, but the kind you live through with blood in your mouth and no one to call. I started with nothing, not the kind of nothing rich kids claim when they want to sound humble. I mean nothing. No investors, no connections, no safety net, just a battered laptop, a dying phone, and a hunger so vicious it kept me awake night after night. Not hunger for food, hunger for freedom, hunger for power, hunger to never answer to another weak man for the rest of my life. I didn't have time to wait. I didn't have the luxury to figure it out. Every second I wasted was another second spent living someone else's life. I remember staring at the ceiling in a cold, dark room where the heat barely worked. My stomach was empty, but my mind was overflowing, not with fear, not with doubt, but with fire. I made a vow in that moment that changed my life forever. I will not die like this. I will not fade into history. I will not be a spectator in this world while others live like kings. That's when the grind started. No applause, no motivation, no audience, just me and the war in my own head. Every morning I woke up before the sun and reminded myself, your future self is watching, don't let him down. That voice became louder than every excuse I could ever invent. And trust me, it didn't come easy. Nothing about building your empire is supposed to feel comfortable. You don't sharpen a sword with silk. You do it with pressure, with friction, with fire. Every day I was met with setbacks. I was told it's impossible. You need money to make money. You should get a real job. The world will throw its doubts on you like chains, but only you decide whether to wear them. I refused. I chose to be insane by society's standards. While others were out drinking, numbing their insecurities, I was locked in, stacking bricks. Each hour was a brick. Each painful rejection, another layer in the foundation. I didn't cry, I calculated. I didn't whine, I worked. Eventually, things started to shift. Not because luck found me, but because I refused to quit. I was relentless. I wasn't chasing money, I was building leverage. I wasn't chasing praise, I was building respect. I was designing my escape plan, blueprinting every move. When my competitors slept, I studied. When they doubted, I doubled down. I was never the most talented, never the most connected, but I was the one who showed up when it hurt, when it was boring, when no one else did. That's how you win, not with flair, but with obsession. That's how you build your empire. One day I looked around and realized something terrifying and beautiful. I was no longer in survival mode. I was in control. I had cash flow. I had power. I had freedom. Not because I stumbled into it, but because I built it with my bare hands. I took every failure and forged it into a weapon. I didn't need luck. I didn't need handouts. I needed pain, and I turned it into purpose. That's the part no one sees. They see the result, the lifestyle, the strength, the influence, but they never see the war it took to create it. This story isn't about me. This is about what you're capable of if you stop lying to yourself. You keep telling yourself you need more time, more clarity, more confidence. You don't. You just need to move. You just need to start. Every empire begins with one step. Not a perfect step, just a step. You think I knew everything? You think I had some magical plan? I didn't. I had willpower. I had a disgust for mediocrity so deep it poisoned every second I wasn't chasing greatness. And that's what fueled me. That's what made me dangerous. That's what made me win. You have that same power buried inside you, but power unused becomes poison. If you don't dig it out, it'll rot you from the inside. You'll live your whole life knowing you could have been something but chose the easy road. You'll watch others rise, not because they were better, but because they had the balls to build. I'm telling you this now because you need to hear it. The difference between a man who builds an empire and one who dies anonymous isn't talent, it's action. Ruthless, repetitive, relentless action. That's it. So if you're waiting for the stars to align, for motivation to strike, for some magical moment of clarity, it's not coming. The empire you want will not be delivered. It must be constructed brick by brick, early morning by late night, failure by lesson. Isolation by self-discovery. That's the process. There's no shortcut. There's no hack. You don't get it by hoping. You get it by bleeding. And one day you'll walk through doors you built, drive cars you bought, live in houses you designed, and look in the mirror at a man who forged his own kingdom out of dust. And you'll realize that everything they said you couldn't do was the exact reason you did it. Because when the world gave you nothing, you built everything. Build your empire. Look around you. Really look. The man next to you at the gym, the guy sitting quietly in the coffee shop, the driver waiting at the light, they're all carrying the same disease. Wasted potential. You can feel it in the air, that invisible heaviness, that dead energy, that silent suffering of men who once had dreams but now live as ghosts in their own bodies. And the scariest part, you're inches away from becoming one of them. You think you've got time. You think tomorrow's guaranteed. You think opportunities will wait while you scroll, while you procrastinate, while you numb your discomfort with distractions. They won't. Time is not your friend. It is the silent assassin, shaving away pieces of your future with every second you spend doing nothing. You don't understand how real this is. Life is a war, and you're either building your kingdom or you're being ruled by someone else's. There's no in between. You're either stacking bricks toward power or drowning under the weight of excuses. I'll start next week. I'm not ready yet. I'm waiting for the right moment. Those are the lullabies that put your ambitions to sleep and lull your future into a coma. Wake up. There is no right moment. There is only now. And if you don't seize it with full aggression, someone else will. Someone else will wake up earlier, push harder, think sharper, and take the very thing you could have owned. Regret is not a punishment. It's a prison. And the longer you avoid your calling, the tighter it locks around your throat. You need to understand the cost of comfort. Every time you choose the couch over the grind, every time you silence your ambition to avoid judgment, every time you let fear dictate your decisions, you pay a tax. Not with money, but with destiny. Every empire unbuilt, every skill unmastered, every risk untaken piles up, and eventually you're crushed beneath the weight of what you could have been. That's the real horror, not failure. Wasted greatness. You could have been someone that reshaped history, inspired nations, led armies of men toward purpose, but instead you chose to scroll. You chose to settle. You chose to drown in comfort and call it peace. There is a fire inside you right now. I know you feel it. That restless urge, that quiet whisper that says you're meant for more. It's not fantasy. It's your soul screaming at you to wake the hell up. You weren't born to survive. You weren't built to coast. You were forged for war, for struggle, for the unrelenting pursuit of empire. And if you ignore that voice, if you suffocate that flame, you will decay. Not physically at first, but mentally, emotionally, you'll become one of those men who laugh on the outside and rot on the inside. You'll pretend everything's fine while your mind slowly dies from knowing you betrayed your own potential. Fear is a tool. Let it slice through your excuses. Let it keep you awake when laziness whispers you to sleep. Be afraid of dying before you've lived. Be afraid of waking up at 50 and realizing you spent your prime worshiping weakness, obeying mediocrity, and letting life slap you around like a slave. Use that fear. Let it mold you. A man who fears being average will never settle for less than legendary. That's the mindset. That's the engine behind greatness. Don't numb it. Embrace it. Let it fuel you like a storm. Here's the truth you're not ready to admit. You are one decision away from changing your entire life. But that decision won't come when it's easy. It comes when it's painful, when your body screams rest and your mind whispers more. It comes when you feel like giving up but choose to keep swinging. That's the test. That's the separation between the broken and the built. Most men will break. Most men will run. Most men will never face themselves in the mirror and admit they've been weak. Don't be most men. You are not meant to be a consumer. You are meant to be a creator. Stop watching others build empires while you fantasize from the sidelines. That life you envy, that power you crave, it's on the other side of sacrifice. And the longer you delay, the more brutal the climb becomes. But if you begin now, if you stop lying to yourself and take full ownership, everything changes. Every second becomes a weapon. Every hour becomes a brick. And slowly, that empire you once only dreamed of becomes a reality. So ask yourself right now, if you died today, would you die as a king or a coward? Would your name echo or be erased? Would your story inspire or be forgotten? The answer isn't in your words, it's in your actions. Not tomorrow, not someday, now. This moment is the battleground. This is where the empire is either born or buried. And the truth is harsh, but liberating. No one is coming to save you. No mentor, no miracle, no moment of enlightenment will suddenly flip your life around. Only you can do it. Only your discipline, only your pain, your fire, your sacrifice. Build your empire or be ruled forever. That's the law of this world. And if that doesn't scare you into motion, then nothing will. The reason most men stay broke, weak, and invisible is because they're addicted to temporary pleasure and allergic to long-term pressure. They want the result without the war, the crown without the scars, the throne without the battlefield. That's not how power works. You don't get to rule anything unless you've bled for it. If you want an empire, you need to earn it brick by brick with discipline, pain, and relentless focus. You need to show the world that you're not just another man wishing for a better life. You're the man building it every day, every hour, no matter how you feel, no matter what it costs. Because the grind doesn't care about your emotions. The mountain doesn't care if your legs are shaking. The future doesn't care how tired you are. It only cares if you show up and conquer it anyway. When you wake up in the morning, you're already in a fight. You're either attacking your goals or surrendering to weakness. You're either a builder or a drifter. There's no neutral ground in this game. So you better move like a man who knows time is his most dangerous enemy. Wake up and dominate the day before it devours you. Your empire isn't built through comfort. It's built in the cold, in the silence, in the hours nobody sees. While others sleep, you're calculating. While others party, you're planning. While others doubt, you're doing. That's how kings are made. Not by talking, not by dreaming, but by moving with intensity no one can match. You have to make a decision that mediocrity is no longer acceptable. You have to draw the line so deep that weakness doesn't dare to cross it. Tell yourself right now, I am not like them, because you're not. You weren't born to fade into the background. You weren't built to follow. There is a beast inside you that's been waiting for permission to rise, and this is the moment you let it out. You walk different when you have purpose. You speak with power when you suffered for your vision. And people feel it. They sense the fire in your presence, and they either fear it or follow it, but they never ignore it. That's what happens when you start building your empire brick by brick with sweat, blood, and ruthless intention. Every excuse you've made is just a chain around your neck. Break it. I don't have the money, then figure out how to make it. I don't have support, then become your own army. I don't know where to start, then start anywhere and refuse to stop. The difference between the man who wins and the man who watches is persistence. Not talent, not luck, but the refusal to give up when everything inside you screams to quit. That's where your kingdom is forged. In the silence, in the grind, in the repetition of war against your weaker self. Nobody's clapping for you yet. Good. That means you're still in the lab, still sharpening, still rising. Because when the world finally sees what you've built, it won't just be impressed. It'll be shaken. Look around at the life you've got. You either created it or allowed it, and that means you have the power to change it. Nothing is set in stone. No situation is permanent. Your bank account, your body, your status, your reputation, it's all malleable. It bends to the will of the man who refuses to be average. The man who says, I will grind for 10 years if I have to, because I know what I'm building is worth it. The man who doesn't get distracted by noise, doesn't break under pressure, doesn't flinch when life punches him in the mouth. That man becomes a legend, not because it was easy, but because he never allowed it to be easy. And deep down, you know that's who you're supposed to be. Stop chasing dopamine and start chasing dominion. Real men don't want applause. They want control. Control over their mind, their income, their destiny. That's what empire building is about. Owning your time, commanding your path, becoming unbreakable. You can't build that by chasing likes or living for comfort. You build that by suffering with purpose, by turning pain into progress, by turning fear into fuel. Discomfort is the forge of greatness, and if you keep running from it, you'll never become who you're meant to be. So run towards the fire. Let it mold you. Let it burn away every ounce of weakness until only the king remains. And yes, it's lonely at the top. Yes, people will mock you, doubt you, betray you, but let them. Because while they're wasting their energy tearing you down, you're busy building something they'll never understand. And when the dust settles, when the noise fades, and the results speak louder than any voice ever could, that's when they'll realize you weren't just chasing a dream, you were building a dynasty. An empire so real it silences every critic and humbles every doubter. The legacy you want isn't handed to you, it's carved out of suffering, sealed in discipline and defended by a mindset that refuses to fold. So you better keep moving, keep grinding, keep building like a man possessed, because one day you're gonna look around at the life you built, the power you hold, the respect you command, the wealth you created, and you'll realize this empire wasn't an accident. It was a decision, a daily decision to rise when others rested, to push when others paused, to lead when others followed. That's the real reward, not just the money, not just the power, but knowing you didn't back down. You answered the call, you faced the pain, and you built your empire with your own two hands. Every second you delay, your empire stays a fantasy. You're not waiting on the right time. You're just afraid to commit. But here's the truth. No one's going to hand you power. No one's going to build your vision for you. And no one's coming to save you. You either rise now or live on your knees forever. This is your line in the sand. You don't get to complain about a kingdom you didn't have the courage to build. Stand up. Take ownership. Start with what you have and make it multiply. I don't care if you're broke, lost, or alone. Every empire began with a man who was hungry enough to change his fate. That man is you. The clock's ticking, your future's watching, and your legacy's on the line. 5 years from now, you'll either be a man with a crown or a man with regrets. Picture the version of you that's rich, respected, and unstoppable. Now go become him. No more doubt, no more delay, no more weakness. Get up and build your empire.